Welcome back to the Dare to Dream podcast. My name is Vincent Van Patten, and today I am joined by Eva Spigt. That is a Dutch name, so sorry if I butchered it. But welcome to the show, Eva.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's really good to see you again.
Great to see you too. Yeah, Eva is a published author and a professional adventurer. And that's a great place to start, just how we met we were both on an adventure. And why don't you tell us how we met?
Oh my God. We met in the ocean in Portugal. And it's so funny because I thought you were Zac Efron.
Spending some time on the Portuguese coast.
Yeah, but you really look like him. And then I was like to my friends, oh my God, it's Zac Efron. And I think then I paddled towards you.
That was the reason.
Yeah, and then we started chatting. I think we had a lot in common. Like you're riding, I was riding, and the surfing. And I think then we went for pizza. And yeah, it was really cool to meet you.
It was awesome meeting you too. Yeah, we met in Ericeira, and Portugal in the summer of 2022. And
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. Time's flying. And I was immediately drawn to just your joy and love of life. And yeah, once we started talking out in the surf lineup, it was a beautiful day. Both realized that you were writers, and I kind of realized that you are living the dream that I aspire to. And it sounds like your dream. And I've been trying to have you on this podcast for probably a year, but it did not work out initially. I'm so glad finally making it happen. So, great place to start is how did you basically, can you just tell us what you do? Like, what is your career? What is your lifestyle?
Yeah, people always ask me that, like, what do you do? And then I say, I only do fun things. And to me, that could be all kinds of things. Like I love to write, but I also love to organize events. I did a TV show last summer in the Netherlands and I won. And yeah, I do PR. So I only do things that I like. Yeah.
That's amazing. And where did that begin? Were you a writer as a kid? Were you you love adventures? Where did it begin, and what was kind of the first like stepping stone to make that your life? Because it is something that so many of us aspire to, me particularly, and I think many people who will listen to the show, that you want to be living the life of your dreams. It's not like, it seems like a fantasy, kind of what you do, and somebody looks at you like your Instagram, it's like you're just traveling the world, you're doing what you want, but it's also your work and your career. And so it's helping people and spreading interesting messages. So where did it all come from?
Well, I'm getting really goosebumps right now because I realize every day that I'm really living the dream and I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, it started actually, I became very sick when I was 29. And then I was sick for 3 years. I had a massive burnout. But that time also, yeah, I think because of that, I really thought like, I just want to live the dream and I want to do things that I'm passionate about. And I don't want to get another burnout. So for me, going back to the office wasn't possible anymore. So then I was just thinking, okay, how can I make it work to live as a digital nomad? And yeah, so for 3 years that I was sick, I really started working on myself and working with a coach and working on my beliefs that I had, because I grew up with parents that just worked at the office. So it wasn't normal to them what I wanted. And I think they also thought that it wasn't possible what I wanted. So I also thought that. And then I was working on my negative beliefs about myself and the life that I wanted. And then I thought, but anything is possible. And right now, I just only think, yeah, I can do whatever I want. Anything is possible. And I think because of that mindset, yeah, I think it really changed my life. And now I just do whatever I want. Yeah.
If you don't mind sharing, like what was the sickness and how was that season of your life?
Well, I was 29 and I was working at a PR agency and I really loved my work. So sometimes I don't really know what happened because I got a burnout, and so I got tinnitus, like ringing ears. And um, it was busy, my job, but I also really liked it because we're working for Adidas, Reebok, O'Neill, like the biggest sports brands in the world. But I also noticed that I didn't want to be at the office because then I really feel trapped. And I just knew that's not how I want to live my life. But then I got a burnout. So I had anxiety attacks all the time. I just couldn't sleep anymore. I was super low in energy. As soon as I wanted to sleep, I just couldn't sleep because of the panic attacks. Like I would wake up at night, like shaking, and yeah, I don't know, very sensitive to light, sounds. And one day just, I couldn't do it anymore. And it's really weird to describe, but I just had this massive ring in my ear. And then I said to my colleagues, like, hey, do we hear this sound as well? And they were like, no, we don't hear it. And then I really thought, oh my God, my head doesn't work anymore. And yeah, then I had to leave. I had to quit my job. And I think that was the most scary thing in the world. Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I was too tired to go to the supermarket. I was too tired to see my friends. Yeah, I was only sitting on the couch. So I think it was the most horrible time of my life. Yeah.
How'd you get out of it?
um, that's a really funny story.
Correct.
I started hiking. And I really hated nature because I was this fashion girl, and working for these beautiful brands, going to parties from Vogue and Elle, wearing my high heels. And then, yeah, I was like, shit, I have to go back to nature. That's so boring. But as soon as I went to nature, like hiking, then I was like, wow, I get more energy. My tinnitus is gone. And I really noticed a difference. So I really started hiking every day because I just couldn't do something else. And yeah, I really started to feel better because of nature. And yeah, then I also got the chance to write a book about it. Yeah, so in the end, I think this burnout led to so many beautiful things in my life right now. But nature is really the answer.
Man, that is such a cool story. And it's like helpful for me, and I think will be for so many people, that the difficult things that we go through, even when we're in it, like with me right now, I'm kind of dealing with chronic back pain that I'm working through healing.
Yeah.
But I just know, like deep down, that it is my destiny to overcome it. And then it already has made me deeper thinker, deeper writer, and just more attuned to people, like what we're all going through. But it's hard to see that it will literally, if you don't let it, this is kind of to steal my coach's, something he said recently that really hit. It's like, if you are able to deal with the pain in the long term with patience and resilience, then it will give you like wisdom and empathy. But if you let it make you like cold, it will pretty much destroy your life. It was much more elegant than that. That was a paraphrase, but the hardest things that we go through will give us, the wisdom that we'll carry for the rest of our lives. And it's so amazing that, I mean, now you are completely like devoted to nature. And what gave you the initial, like, why did you go on that hike? What gave you the idea first?
Well, it was actually a friend of mine. Yeah, she was this top model. So she didn't have like this office job. So every time she was in the Netherlands, she just said, hey, let's go on a hike. And then we started to do that every week. She was really my savior. Actually, do we say it like that? Well, she saved my life. Nature saved my life. She did. She was really there for me every week. And yeah, without her and some other friends, I think I wouldn't be here right now. Because also, if you have tinnitus, you become crazy. You only hear like this ringing sound. And some days I really thought like, I just don't want to live anymore. Because I couldn't talk to people anymore. I couldn't watch Netflix or whatever. So it was pretty tough. But yeah, because of her and seeing her every week, going on these hikes. Yeah, that really saved my life.
That's incredible. So how did it transition to, well, pretty much the next step? Because did you use like your PR background to kind of integrate nature, or where did it go from there?
Yeah, but it all happened. It wasn't the plan. It just happened because we started to put things on Instagram, and then other brands, they saw what we were doing. So then they were like, oh my God, we want to sponsor you girls. And then we were flying to Montenegro and all these other beautiful places, to Switzerland. And so we got many sponsorships, and I was still having this freaking burnout. So sometimes I was still having my panic attacks, but I was also thinking, this is really what I want to do. So yeah, I think we got really lucky because of my background in PR, and I already knew those brands, but we were also doing something different. And I think that's, yeah, what the people like. Yeah.
Mm. Amazing. What, so like you said, your parents, they didn't like believe in that you could make that your life, and you didn't really believe it yourself. That's another thing with, I might be bringing up my coach, Brendan Backstrom, several times today, because one of my great inspirations. But like with him, he was so, he was 18, 19, and he wanted to be like an Olympic sprinter, and he kept getting injured, chronic injuries. His back injured it, and then he was in 2 years of just despair, like not knowing which way to turn. But he had a background in like kinesiology and pretty much the body, but like everybody in his classes, like his teachers, had back pain too. So why am I learning from these people who, nothing against them, but this is just not the way? I could feel it. Like he was in back pain going through this whole process, and he devised this entire philosophy and like plan himself of direct lower back training. And he's literally changing the whole paradigm of like back pain and just the culture around like gym culture and training and longevity. And he says the same thing, like, you don't believe that this could be your reality. Like he couldn't believe that he would one day be pain free. He couldn't believe that the things he was doing would, get him out of pain. But like you have to believe in an unreal reality, pretty much, like, because what we're so accustomed to, the things that are so common, I mean, they're common for a reason, because it's easy. It's not that it's easy to believe them, but it's hard to believe the other, the other reality is possible. So where did that come from with you? How did you get that inspiration, or just that fire to like really go for it?
I think I was also very lucky because I started working with a coach. Because I also think the burnout made me really depressed. If you cannot do anything. And then I started working with this coach, and we were really working on my mindset, the thoughts that I had. And I think that's really important. And we started making vision boards. We started working on the things I was saying to myself and the words that I used. And I think if you can make a switch in that, and I even did like these affirmations on my mirror with all these cute sentences to myself. So I really think it's about, your mindset, and remind yourself. And I did meditations and really work on the things in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's also a process. And right now, every month, I still write down the things that I want to do. And I just try to be positive. And I'm not positive all the time, but I know now what to do when I have these crazy things again. And when I have sometimes, and I still call my coach. And then she's like, just look at your vision board again, or look at the things that you wrote down. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a reminder again. So for me, that really worked.
Can you think
But I have a question for you as well.
Sure, yes.
Because how do you deal with the chronic back pain?
Chronic pain. That's a good question. It's not easy. It's before I found this guy, Brendan, his name on Instagram is Low Back Ability. it's been 7 years. I injured myself when I was 21. Just, pretty typical like leg workout. And then, but he kind of says like the injury isn't causing the pain anymore. It's your weak back is what caused the injury, like to begin with. And so many of us have weak backs because we're just not taught to train the lower back, kind of taught to just brace it. And, you're squatting and stuff and wearing a back brace. It's like, no, your back should be the back brace. And it's basically, I'm like, wow, that was a switch that I had a weak back before. And I could like think back now when I used to train, like in college, of just like things that were weak and like not being able to squat fully, just kind of limitations, mobility stuff. And it's like, wow, yeah, sure that all did contribute to this. But it's pretty much for 6 years, I was very lost. And I mean, that's when I met you, and I would go through highs and lows. Like it was actually not too bad during that summer because I was living at a hostel in Lisbon for 2 months and kind of like outside every day and just not at like a desk job, which definitely doesn't help. And then I was surfing and I'm sure I felt it, like I know I did, but it was pretty manageable. It's been pretty rough in Japan just because a lot of sitting and standing on trains and stuff. So before I met Brendan, I just had zero idea of what to do. I tried all the different modalities and physical therapists, and pretty much I know I'm not gonna like do surgery or anything like that. That's pretty much all. Sorry, I'll get to where I am now. So yeah, pretty lost. And then finally I found Brendan, and his whole philosophy is like through direct lower back training, like with back extensions. That's like the key just piece to this whole rebuilding, and rebuilding everything else at the same time, because it's a total body kind of rebuild. Because when the back goes out, everything else starts compensating, like your hips. Like I have like pelvic tilt now, which I'm undoing. Like when your hips go forward, your upper back gets more like rounded because your lower back gets more, I think it's thoracic. And so everything needs to be reworked. So it's a long, patient process of like reworking my hips, back especially, upper back, legs, like lower legs, like ankles and shins, and just pretty much the work from the ground up. It's not complicated. It sounds like it is, but it's pretty like there's several foundational workouts that you do 3 times a week, and then 2 days a week is mobility stuff. But back to the point, how I deal with it, it just takes faith. Like I've written about it, and like I said, it has made me a better writer, deeper, because at my lowest points, like I have to just write and get it out, get emotional. But how else? I don't know. I just keep trucking on and try to fill my time with productive other stuff, like doing podcast and writing, and working on a book right now about the European trip. Actually, near the end, it's pretty awesome. And before I met Brendan, I had like zero idea of which direction to turn. And it's not so much that the back pain that's not even the biggest part of the problem. The problem was not knowing if I'll ever get out of it, or just not knowing that things will get better. So since I met him, even on the tough days, it's like, stay the course, trust the process. This is just, a hiccup in this grand scheme. You're going to get out of it, and it's going to make you who you're meant to be. So just keep soldiering on. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, sometimes, or it makes me a little bit sad to hear that you're still in this process, and I just really hope that maybe one day you're going to be pain-free.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And also one of the things that helps me is just realizing how much I do have. Like seeing people, I haven't really lived in the city like Osaka before, where I'm on the train all the time, and seeing people in wheelchairs and completely hunched over and with limps, and I'm like, at least I have a chance to continue, searching for an answer and continue to get out of this. Some people don't. So it makes me grateful for what I do have. But enough about that. But thank you for asking. But I wanted to ask you, what's one of the most meaningful affirmations or things that you tell yourself even to this day that is just one of the most like foundational sayings or something that you have that you go back to?
Well, my coach always said, you can do anything you want. And right now, I don't know why, but that's really in my head. And I really realize that I can really do anything that I want. And it's so funny because every year, with New Year's, I'm writing a letter to myself. Like, what do I want to achieve this year? What do I want to do? What are my dreams? And then I read the letter back, like after 1 year. And then I really think, holy shit, I really did everything that I wanted. It's crazy, huh? So I was thinking, I can win a TV show. I can write a book. I can buy a house in Portugal. I can sail around the world. Yeah. So
There we go.
do it.
Do it. So, okay, this is a good time to just kind of walk through these things that you've done. Like, what have you been up to lately, and how do you do them? Like, how do you? I'll just leave it at that. What have you been up to lately the last couple of years?
Get this question so often, like, how do you do this? But I think I just do it. And I'm just really, if I have a goal, then I have a goal. So yeah, with the book, I just wrote to publishing houses like, hey, I have this idea. I want to write this book. Do you want to publish it? And maybe I was lucky, I don't know. But yeah, I found one of the biggest publishing houses in the Netherlands. And also with the TV show, I think this sounds so arrogant and cocky, but I just knew I was going to win. Because I just had the feeling. I just knew it. I visualized it, how I was going to make it to the finish line. And right now, also with the house in Portugal, I know it's not going to be easy, but yeah, I have to earn money. And then I was thinking, yeah, the only way to make good money is by working a bit more. And in order to do that, I have to find more projects. So today I was reaching out to all these new clients, and today I got 2 new clients. So I think I just don't take no for an answer. And as soon as I have my mind to something, I just do it.
Amazing. Where in Portugal? Is it in Ericeira?
What? Sorry?
Is it in Ericeira, the house?
First, I wanted to buy something right there, but I found a better place, and it's called Arifana, and it's more in the south of Portugal, and it's a bit more hippie, and not many people know about it. So, yeah, I think that's really my dream right now, and I just want to make it happen.
You're on your way.
So I
see you there.
within 2 years, I can invite you.
That'd be great. That would be great. And then what is the show about? Please elaborate on the show.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. You mean the TV show?
That's the one.
Yeah, it was a hiking TV show. So with 15 people, we had to hike 30 kilometers. I don't know, you don't have kilometers, huh? Every day with a heavy backpack. I don't know in miles.
30 kilometers. I think miles are like 5/7 or
10 mile is 16 kilometer, right?
yes, I think so. 1 mile? Wait, say
10,
mile?
right? 10 English miles is 16 kilometers, something like that.
Something like that.
I think.
Sounds about right.
So we had to walk maybe 20 miles then per day with a heavy backpack. And I was in a guys team, and I really thought, shit, they're stronger than me. And yeah, so then I got a bit anxious. I thought, shit, I really thought everyone I was going to win. But now I have these super strong competitors. But then I was also thinking, no, just anything is possible. You can even win from these guys. So then they got injuries and my body was still doing fine. But I think also because I kept my mindset like, you can do anything that you want, you're going to win. Every night I was like visualizing. Yeah. And maybe that made a difference. I don't know.
I'm sure it did. That was in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I was in the Netherlands. Yeah. So hiking every day. We had no sleeping place. We had no food. So we had to arrange the food and a sleeping place along the way. And maybe then I was also lucky because I was a woman. So everyone was always like, "Oh yeah, we have a spare room for you," and the guys had to sleep in the tents.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There were
So
other women on the show.
what? Sorry.
There were other women on the show,
Yeah, there were.
and it was just was there like it was men versus men, but or was it just everybody?
Yeah, we were with 3 teams, and every team had five members. Do you call it like that, or 5
Yeah.
team members? Yeah.
Yep.
And so every round you had to vote someone out, like the weakest.
Wow.
So every time I was like, shit, they're really gonna vote on me because the guys were. Oh yeah, I was in the guys team with 4 other guys, and the other teams had more like girls and guys. But yeah, it really made me think like, yeah, they're gonna vote me out.
Well,
But they
then
didn't.
I would not vote you out. And then how many people like finished on each team? Was it one vote versus the
The
other?
finish was the 3 teams and then 2 people. So I won with another guy. But that one was really crazy because we had to walk a marathon. And the only way for me and him to win was running. Because we had to do like challenges along the way. But then we were not really good in the challenges. So we got, how do you call it? Minus points.
Lost
So
points.
other 2 teams, they could start 30 minutes earlier than we. So they were 30 minutes ahead of us. And then I also thought, shit, how are we going to win? And then he said, the only way is if we're going to run. So we were running with a backpack and I was in so much pain. I've never been in so much pain. But I really thought, no, I want to win this. And I'm so close right now. There's no way that I'm not gonna win. Yeah.
And who won? Who got first? You were the guy.
Yeah, together with the guy, I won.
Okay. You guys crossed at the same
I have
time.
to be honest. He was really like pushing me. And I think without him, I also wouldn't have won. He was like, go on, Effa, you wanted to win. And so give me more. Go on.
Wow.
I was crying.
Dang.
Yeah.
You did it, pulled it off. That's so cool. And then what about this driving a car to Dakar?
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
Yes, please tell us all about it.
Yeah. So I had another dream. I wanted to drive to Dakar in Senegal. And it's like through Morocco and the Sahara, like the Sahara Desert. And it's called the Dakar Challenge. And it's like a little piece of the Dakar rally. So it's pretty tough. But then they also said, yeah, not many women can join or not many women can participate. And then I also thought, can I say, fuck this shit?
Please. It's welcomed.
I really thought, fuck you guys. If you can do it, I can do it. So, and then they said no to me 5 times, but I just kept calling them every day. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this every day. And they kept saying no. And then I just didn't stop until they said yes. Yeah. So I got in. And then with a female team, we drove, through the desert all the way to the Gambia in Africa.
From where?
We started in Amsterdam, and then, it's again in kilometers, but it took us almost a month to get all the way to the Gambia.
How did you drive from Amsterdam to Africa? What is the route?
So yeah, it was so crazy, and I was so tired that I was crying every day. But we started in Amsterdam, and then you have to drive to Netherlands, Belgium, France. Then you have Spain. Then you take the ferry with the car. You're driving through Morocco, through the desert already. Then you have the West Sahara, Mauritania, the actual Sahara. It's crazy. You have to drive through the desert. There's nothing there. And then we were driving 120 kilometers per hour, like going like this through the desert. And then we were in Senegal, and then we ended in Gambia.
Where is Gambia? Like on the continent? Is it?
It's like the west of Africa, and it's like a super tiny country, and it's in between Senegal.
Mm.
And again, like I had no idea about cars. I didn't even know how to drive off road. I didn't know. I didn't know how to change the tire. But I really thought I just want to do this. Oh yeah, and I think the nicest thing is I wanted to collect money for girls' education in Africa. So that was the main reason why I wanted to do it. I wanted to show that we women can do this as well, and yeah, I wanted to raise the money for the girls. So we were driving in this car with girls can do anything. What else? Girl power.
Who was it with you? Flipping off all the guys as you drive through Sahara.
Yeah. Oh
Who
my
was with
God.
you?
It was two other girls, two friends of mine. And they're also a bit crazy, so they also like adventure. So I'm really happy that they wanted to join me. And they already said, no, you cannot do this. They're never gonna get you in. And I was like, no, really, believe me, I'm gonna make this work. Yeah, so we did.
Where did like that? I mean, because I've never heard of like driving to Dakar. Where did that come from? Is it something you
I
always
think
do?
no, I was just driving with that friend, Alka. Oh yeah, I don't know if you met her in Portugal. We were driving in Portugal, and I really like driving. I really like driving fast. And then we were like, oh, how cool would it be to drive the actual Dakar rally? But that wasn't really possible. And then we found a challenge, and then I thought, okay, this is possible. This is what we can do. And then yeah, I just kept on stalking. Uh, how do you say that? The people from the challenge even when they said no. Yeah.
Try again. Okay, you gotta tell us just like something, a story from the drive,
From the drive in Portugal?
from the challenge. Something
I
you
don't know.
learned, or just an interesting tidbit, story that sticks with you.
Well, I think so. Yeah, we were driving through Morocco, and it's not very common, of course, for three girls to drive in Morocco. And it was getting dark, and then we really entered the desert already. And then I was getting a bit anxious because we had this massive van we were driving, and then we got stuck in the sand, and we had no one else around us. And then I saw three guys like coming from the desert, and it was getting dark. And then I really thought, shit, now they're gonna rape us, kill us, whatever. We're in Morocco. It's not really safe. But then the guys helped us. Were digging out our car, and they really helped us driving through the desert to our little camp there. But that was a moment that I really thought, shit, Eva, you're always doing these crazy things. And maybe right now, yeah, this is gonna be the end. Yeah, but it wasn't. But of course, I do think sometimes. Yeah.
Was it? Was that? I'm sure there was. Was there other like scary moments like that?
Um, Not scary, but I think the moment we got through or in Mauritania, so Mauritania is really red on a map and you shouldn't go there and it's super unsafe. So then that moment I also thought like, shit, what are we gonna do? We had to drive through the desert and then you really have to buy your water, your food. uh, yeah, you have to get your camping supplies and whatever. Then I was also a bit anxious. I really thought, shit, I really dragged my friends into this crazy adventure that I wanted to do. And now we're going to drive through the Sahara Desert for 4 days. How are we going to survive? I didn't know. I never did it. So, but in the end, we were also fine. Um, and it was, I think, one of the most spectacular things I ever did in my life. Because there's sand everywhere, there are camels, there are no trees, no houses, no water, no nothing. And then you have to camp in the desert with the stars. And it was so beautiful. It was crazy. You
That's
have
so
to do
cool.
it.
Yeah, that's one of my top. Yeah, I will do it someday. Get to the Sahara.
Yeah, really, you have to do it. It was so beautiful, so crazy.
Unreal.
Oh, yeah. And then we also got stuck again. And we were in this really weird little town, and it's super poor there. And then you come there with your white skin and all your privileges, and then I really thought, yeah, they're gonna rob us. But then again, all these people came out to help us to push the camper van through the sand, and then I really realized that maybe most of the people in the world are just nice and friendly. Yeah,
That's a great lesson. And I
yeah.
agree, especially as I think we share, our passion for adventure and exploring and just the world. I definitely have moments, not just moments, but just thoughts and of like, I want to just make traveling and, seeing the world and going everywhere, like my life. But the world is a scary place, or it could be. There's war in Middle East and in Europe, but that's just because we hear about such negative things in the news, and you only hear about the negative stuff. I found that once you get out there and actually meet people and talk to them, people are good. People are generally
That's very
good,
true.
and you
Yeah.
can't be. I mean, Japan is on one end of the spectrum of safety. It's the safest country in the world. You really don't have. I mean, it's different for girls, and should always be, you know, aware. But you really like could just let your guard down and just explore the country, which is really cool,
Yeah.
and not be like timid. Um, but obviously, there's places where you got to be smart and you got to be aware, and you can't be. I was about to say you can't really stand out, but I don't know. You drove through Africa in a pink minivan, so maybe that's
Yeah.
not the lesson. But all in all, yeah, people are good, I think, and it takes getting out there and seeing them yourself to understand that.
Yeah, that's really true.
Mhm. So you did the drive through Africa, and where are you now?
Oh my God. Yeah, now I'm in El Salvador. And that was really a dream of mine for 10 years already. So I'm so happy to be here. And also from El Salvador, they said, yeah, it's the murder country in the world. Like so many female or women get murdered. And then you get here and people are so friendly and so happy that you're here. Um, yeah, so I would advise everyone to come to El Salvador. It's so beautiful.
She's the poster child of El Salvador. What are you doing there? What does your day to day look like?
Um, So I really wanted to become better in surfing, and El Salvador is so good for surfing. And I think they did the WSL here for the first time. So then I thought, yeah, I really have to go there. And now I'm just working a bit from here, starting my day with a surf, and I go work, and then I'm gonna see the sunset. So yeah, living the life, I think.
Practically, like how are you doing it? Because I'm sure people are listening to this and they're like, okay, it's a dream, but like how do you do it? How do you find places to stay? How do you just like how do you practically take the steps to do these things? What does it begin with? who do you call? Where do you stay? How long do you stay for? Just kind of walk us through the process, please,
Well,
if you
I
would.
really don't like the winters in the Netherlands, so I try to be gone for maybe 6 months per year. Um, but you know what I really learned during all my travels? Like you can search on booking.com or Airbnb, but then I never find the good places. So maybe I book something for 2 days and then I'm just going to the locals and ask for a nice place to stay. So, oh my God, this is also such a funny story because,
Funny,
yeah,
that's
last year
incredible. Yeah.
I drove through Africa, right? And then I sold my car in Gambia. And then I thought, oh, then I'm just going to fly back to Portugal. Flight got canceled. And I thought, shit, okay, then I just book another flight. Flight got canceled again. And then I thought, shit, so now I'm stuck in Africa. And then I thought, okay, maybe it's a sign from the universe. And then also with the help from the locals, I found this amazing place on the beach. Like I had this little beach hut, like I opened my door and then there was the sea and the palm trees. And yeah, so I think my biggest advice, if you want to do this, just ask the locals. You get the best price, the best place, and you get really the best experience of country.
Mm.
Skip booking.
Yeah. So like when they suggest something, like what is that? Is it somebody just like renting out their guest house or
Yeah, most it's like that. Yeah.
okay. So it's just
And
personal one on like yeah, face to face kind of
yeah.
transaction.
Yeah, because and then you can also see the place, feel the place. And for me that's really important because I work online, so the internet has to be good, but it also has to be kind of comfortable and yeah, with a good space to work. Yeah, so I would suggest that.
That's really
And I
cool.
always stay for a month or a little bit longer so you can make a better deal. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, like I'm trying to move to Tokyo right now and I'm like looking for places and it's a bit of hoops to jump through like with just being a foreigner and such, but I'm like I pretty much I mean, I could just take this advice like I need to just get there somehow, like stay in an Airbnb and then start kind of getting my boots on the ground and finding like a job and a place to stay like when you're there. So like go to the place, feel it out. Um,
Yeah.
instead of trying to do everything from a distance. That's
So
cool.
where are you staying right now? You have a good place?
Yeah, so I'm in Osaka. I've been here for the last year and a half. I was teaching English.
Yeah.
That's what brought me to Japan, how I got my visa. And yeah, I finished teaching English at the end of the year. And now I love Tokyo. And I feel like the kid, moving to the big city. Like Osaka is definitely smaller and it's got a very like personal vibe. I'm in Osaka right now. Feels just more like a Japanese city, whereas Tokyo is like obviously very Japanese, but it's an international powerhouse. So you just feel that vibe. And I'm looking for like a writing job or just anything that kind of helps me takes take steps towards being like my dream of being a storyteller and photography, writing, podcasting. Kind of, I want to work for a magazine, or if somebody's listening to this, I want to work for a magazine where I could share my love for traveling and culture. And
Yeah.
it's basically, yeah, I'm trying to find a job and place to stay within like the next month and a half in Tokyo. So the hunt is on. But
But
Osaka,
how is it in
I love
Japan?
it.
Like, do people speak English or how is it to get around there and make friends and how does it go?
Yeah. So I was really lucky that right when I got here, summer or September 2022, it was right after that European trip. Like I found out I was going to Japan on that trip when I was in Italy. And I'm like, wow, I'm gonna go home for a month and then go in Japan. And I knew nobody coming here, but my like third day I was here, I started work. So my first day of training with new teachers, we just became best friends. Like five others, or there's five of us that are really tight. A couple from England, another guy from England, the girl from New Jersey, United States, and we're still like the big five to this day. So I thought I would come here and like not have friends. It's gonna be kind of me against the world doing my writing, and it's just like in this foreign country and just do my own thing. But it's been the opposite. Like made best friends, and then it's just ballooned from there. Yeah, just Japanese friends, and a lot of it came from teaching, so that was a big help. Just kind of getting in with a community. So yeah, it's been different and better than I could have possibly imagined. Just friend group and people in Osaka speak. Some people speak English. It's probably less than you would imagine, but I'm learning Japanese. Still pretty novice, but getting there. And yeah, kind of just figuring it out. It's, as you know, living in a foreign place is lots of learning curve, and that's maybe a good question for you. Like, what has been difficult about this lifestyle? And it sounds, maybe it is just 100% amazing, but what are the difficulties? And do you ever wish things were different? And yeah.
I think that's a really nice question because I think everyone is always thinking that I'm living the life, which is true, of course. But I also have my family, friends in the Netherlands. And this year, I really noticed that it was a bit different. Like normally people were super happy when I was back. And now I was back and everyone was just like, yeah, I don't know, not really reaching out to me anymore. And then I really thought, shit, maybe I am losing my friends or the connection that I have with them. So it also made me realize like how much longer do I want to do this, or is it time to settle somewhere? Or I don't know, these are the difficulties. And sometimes I'm also afraid if I go to a new place like that I will make friends. So I'm really happy to hear that you met some really nice people. Because I think without friends or the right people, it's really boring. Yeah.
How do you feel about it now? Like having gone home and maybe people are different. Has it changed anything, or do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I'm going back more often now to the Netherlands because my sister also got a baby and she's really the coolest baby in the world. And I really thought I was mujer independiente and I'm going to stay in El Salvador for a few months. And now I'm actually going back on Saturday to the Netherlands to see my family and friends just for a day.
One day.
And then I'm going to Portugal. But I think right now I realize more and more how important my family is. And I really want to make more of an effort to see them and spend time with them.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. Like obviously we relate on a lot of things because similar aspirations of, my whole family's in Los Angeles, and do I, am I going to be just living in foreign countries for the rest of my life? Probably not. Yeah. At some point, do you see yourself settling in the Netherlands, when the time comes? Or what's your forecast, outlook? That makes sense.
If I want to live in the Netherlands?
Yeah, like at some point, do you see like the Netherlands being your final resting place? Or do you think you'll be, is Portugal your spot? Or do you think you're going to be kind of bouncing around?
If I'm going to sit down, I think it's going to be Portugal.
Wow.
Because the winters are just too cold in the Netherlands. And I just want to surf every day. And I think my dream is to buy a farm and have some animals and my surf husband and my kids. And that's really what I want in Portugal. And what about you? Do you think you're going back to the States?
I do not know. Like I'm definitely gonna finish my Japanese visa here, which is 3 years, and it's been about a year and like 4 months. Um, and perhaps beyond that, like if I find the right situation and stuff. I don't think Japan is forever, but I had the first moment probably since I've been here where I actually questioned it. I was coming back from Tokyo. I was just in like a cool little shop, like getting dinner. And I usually like listen to a podcast or something, music while I'm eating, if I'm by myself, obviously. And I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna just kind of listen to the sounds of this shop and just hearing like the cooking and the pots and the pans sizzling and the banter between the waiters and the conversations and all in Japanese surrounding me. And I'm just this little foreigner kid, sitting at the counter by myself, just like listening. This is so cool. And it was my dream and still blows me away that I'm actually here doing this. It was a day trip to Tokyo. I was meeting somebody, just like getting on the bullet train in like 30 minutes. I'm having my, chicken cutlet. What if I lived in, what if Japan was it for the rest of my life? You know, that's a pretty cool place. I think that was just, an idea. I probably just want to see so much other stuff, and it would be hard to be permanently away from a family, and all my best friends are in America. Um, but I think I just want to continue kind of doing what you're doing and experiencing cultures like long term in different places. Not exactly bouncing around like every month, but a year here, a year there. Like I truly loved like Lisbon and Portugal as well, France, like coastal cities, and
Yeah.
so I really don't know. It's an exciting time for sure. Of
But you're still young.
Yeah, relatively at 28. It's
You have your
exciting.
whole life.
What are you, 32?
Yeah.
32?
I'm no, I'm 34. Oh,
34.
like shit, how old I am. Yeah,
Okay.
34.
Well,
Oh my
you
God.
too. We were just getting started. But I was listening to this podcast yesterday, this guy, Ryan Holiday, and he's a writer and had on his podcast Stephen Pressfield, who's one of like, I don't know if you've read The War of Art. Maybe you have. Stephen Pressfield as a writer.
Mhm.
They were talking about just this kind of early stage of this exciting time when maybe you're doing a project or it could be your career. Um, when you've started, you're a year, 2, 3 years in, you're out of the gates, but you're still in the early stages when you don't know how things are going to go. And you were just like in the trenches of it. It's consuming you. You're so excited like to work on this thing, but you don't know how it's going to end up. And you haven't had the success yet. You haven't seen, the troubles that come from success and the difficulties once you do make it. As you know, like I'd say oh, correct me if I'm wrong and please, chime in. Would you say, I mean, it sounds like you've crossed the threshold of you're more advanced in your career and you kind of know what you're doing more and you're good at what you do. I'm like still in the early stages of this whole game. Um, so anyways, sorry, they were saying like that's the most exciting time when you don't know how things are going to go, that don't know how they're going to work out, but you love the thing you're doing, you're passionate about it. Maybe you don't make any money yet, but it's like, I'll do this anyway. Thoughts on that?
I love this.
Yeah,
What you say, like, even if you don't make money on it, but you love doing it, I really think that's the way, right? I really think you have to be passionate about what you're doing and the money will follow.
I agree. And yeah, I wanted to ask you, it's a good segue. Just like, what's the relationship for you between like money, success, freedom, happiness? Like, how do you see it all in just this kind of paradigm of interplaying uh, forces?
Um, Such a nice question again. Because I think for me, my freedom and adventure is everything. And I never did things out of money. But I am very confident that whatever I do out of passion will bring me the money anyway. So um, I never do things out of money. Never. I won't take a shitty job for the money. I just don't do it. Then I prefer to live maybe a little bit less than giving up my freedom and my core values. But then, you know what I saw? If I really work from my passion, the money will come anyway. Do I sound cocky and arrogant? The
No,
money will come anyway.
inspiring. Seriously. I believe it too, you know? It sounds like you make decisions on like your heart. You follow your heart to that leads you into the unknown. And when you're embarking on
I
these,
think that's how it works, right? My body always knows if it's a yes or a no. If I want to work with a new client and I don't get goosebumps or a good feeling, then it just doesn't work for me. And sometimes I really get anxious, like, oh my God, but I do need the money and I cannot say no to this client. But right now I know if it doesn't come from the heart or my passion, then I just don't do it and another client will come. It's like this. And if it doesn't come, I'm just gonna make hamburgers at McDonald's.
maybe you'll be happier. We never know.
And then I'm gonna be the best hamburger maker ever.
That's right. You would be great. Flipping burgers, making D's. What would you tell, say you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, even me, 28. Like, what would you tell your younger self? What advice would you give?
Fuck it. Just do whatever you want. Like, really. I think I was so insecure when I was in my 20s. And right now, I really think, why didn't I travel more? Why didn't I say goodbye to my shitty job? Or, yeah, really just go for it when you feel the passion and don't be afraid to jump.
Love that.
What would you tell your younger self?
The younger self. Yes, I'm 28, 20. Well, it's kind of the thing I tell myself every day is like, just keep the faith. It's the thing that keeps me going at it right now. And like I was kind of saying, I'm still in that stage of, I started writing out of college, but started really like wholeheartedly when COVID happened. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like you're saying, like, fuck it. I'm going for it. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to have a different career when this is the thing that I truly want to do. And I might have to work day jobs and do other things as I pursue the life of a creator. But now I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to be a real estate agent or like a different career where my heart was clearly not in it. So I would say keep the faith. Like things are going to work out as they're meant to. But like we're saying, don't be attached to the outcome with projects, with your career. And in the podcast, I was talking about Ryan Holiday and Stephen Pressfield. Working on something that you love without attachment to the outcome is a form of worship. And that, it's not my idea, but it's an interesting one of like, what does that mean? It's like, it just gets to the crux of what life is all about. It's like doing something purely for that moment, for that experience in it of itself, instead of, hoping it turns out a certain way and kind of basing your day to day on some future outcome. So trust the process, keep the faith. That's what keeps me going at it to this day.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think you can be so proud of yourself, how you do everything. And it's so nice to follow you on Instagram. And yeah, and I really love how open you are about everything. And it's really beautiful to see and inspiring.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot. Lastly, what does success mean to you?
Um, I think, or to me, it really means to be yourself and be happy with the things that you're doing. And like I said, for me, it was never about the money or driving a big car. It's really about, yeah, being happy. This is so simple, being happy. Yeah. What does it mean to you?
I was going to ask, how do you get to happiness? But I think you can't chase like happiness. Like other things lead to happiness. Like I think for me, it's freedom, like ultimately. And
Yeah.
it's somehow making your dreams a reality. Like bringing it full circle. You have to truly believe that that life that you imagine can be a reality. That despite everything, despite what everybody else is doing, like you could live the life of your dreams. And to be confident, not confident, to be content with just like who you are and what you're doing, regardless
Yeah.
of just kind of the noise around you. That is success. And kind of basing, your worth on who you are instead of like what you have, and kind of throwing a lot out here. But that's success, and that's what I'm striving for.
Yeah. I like that. I think we're both doing well in being happy.
I think so, Well, you're definitely doing great. I'll speak on that. Yeah, such an inspiration as well. And, by some divine fate, you thought I was Zac Efron, and that's why we met. So thank you for that. Thank you, Zac Efron. And so glad and grateful to have met you. And, I didn't even bring up, but so cool, like how on the drive, you did it, like raising money for women's education in Africa. How did that all like turn out?
In the end, we could sell the car for 6,000 euros. And we had some sponsors, and it got kind of big in the media here in the Netherlands. So people were really donating the money. Yeah, and now from the money, they're building schools and getting the girls to educate themselves. So I think, that's really beautiful.
And
Oh, you know what the funny thing is?
What?
Because we got the car for 250 euros and we sold it for 6,000. So yeah, that was really cool.
Made a little profit.
Yeah.
Went to the schools. Dang, that is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, really happy. I would like to do I have this other idea. You know what I want to do? And I really want to do it this year. I want to drive in a tuk-tuk through India to raise money for education for girls. Do you want to join?
Girl power. Sign me up. Yes. From Amsterdam to Tuk Tuk.
No, I thought we just fly to India and then just cross the whole country in a tuk-tuk.
Oh, in a Tuk Tuk.
Maybe a month.
What is a Tuk Tuk?
It's like this tiny scooter thing. It makes a lot of noise and it doesn't drive very fast. So I think it's going to take a while. But I'm looking for a sponsor right now to do this project.
Wow. It seems like you found your purpose in these cross country drives as well.
I already know it's gonna happen, so you have to join.
I'll be there. I'll be there. Dang. And India's top of my list as well, places I want to go. This will be good.
Really?
It is. Well, better way to see it than on a tuk-tuk.
Yeah.
Cross country. Amazing. Thank you, Eva. Such a pleasure and so glad we could finally do this. This is an awesome episode and seriously so inspired and uplifted by everything you're doing, you know, not even just what you're doing, but by who you are. I felt that first time we met surfing, that just have this joy and love for life, and it shines through in, you know, your smile and your face, and just getting out there and overcome a lot. And it is truly beautiful and inspirational. And thank you. Keep it up.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and hopefully our paths cross again in India
I think they will.
or Portugal.
Yes. Definitely come to Portugal.
Good luck
Have the fun.
riding.
Thank you. The journey continues. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Love y'all.